You're live now. We have 3 minutes to start. Can't see anyone there. Yeah, 4 people. Yeah, you can carry on. So. Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamcha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunadhanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Krupa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So thank you so much everyone for tuning in. This is the first time I'm giving class live stream without the presence of audience sitting in front of me. It's a little bit difficult task. Usually, whenever I give class, I look at devotees and there is interaction. But however, so this is the first time. So please, I take your blessings so that I may say something today. So unfortunately, due to the issue of coronavirus, we have to suspend all our temple programs for some time. We are just observing the situation and monitoring the situation closely. It is in the best interest of all the temple devotees and congregation that we have taken this decision. It is difficult for us, but it is in the best interest of the congregation. But the classes will be live streamed here on ISKCON Manchester YouTube. So Fridays and Sunday. So every time we live stream a class, we try to send a message. Let's get connected through the YouTube. Let's hear Krishna Katha. That is the most important thing. So this is let's make use of this technology. Hopefully again we shall meet together in the temple very soon. So today I've chosen one particular verse in Bhagavad Gita, that is chapter 1 verse 10. So it's chapter 1 verse 10. So I'll just take it out from, yes. So, yeah. So please try and find out the verse, chapter 1 and verse 10 from Bhagavad Gita. Apariyaptam tad asmakam Apariyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishmabhi rakshitam balam bhishmabhi rakshitam pariyaptam tvaidam etesham pariyaptam tvaidam etesham balam bhima abhirakshitam balam bhima abhirakshitam apariyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma abhirakshitam pariyaptam tvaidam etesham balam bhima abhirakshitam apariyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma abhirakshitam पर्याप्तं त्वयिदमेतेषाम् बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम् अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकम् बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितम् पर्याप्तं त्वयिदमेतेषाम् बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम् So, अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितम् पर्याप्तं त्वयिदमेतेषाम् बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम् अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितम् पर्याप्तं त्वयिदमेतेषाम् बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्. So let's do the word for word now. Aparyaptam, immeasurable. Tat, that. Asmakam, of ours. Balam, strength. Bhishma, by grandfather Bhishma. Abhirakshitam, perfectly protected. Paryaptam, limited. Tu, but. Idam, all this. Etesham, of the Pandavas. Balam, strength. Bhima, by Bhima. Abhirakshitam, carefully protected. Translation. Our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. Responsively, please. Our strength is immeasurable.
Our strength is immeasurable.
And we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma. Whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhima, is limited. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Herein, an estimation of comparative strength is made by Duryodhana. He thinks that the strength of his armed forces is immeasurable, being specifically protected by the most experienced general, grandfather Bhishma. On the other hand, the forces of the Pandavas are limited, being protected by a less experienced general Bhima, who is like a fig in the presence of Bhishma. Duryodhana was always envious of Bhima because he knew perfectly well that if he should die at all, he would only be killed by Bhima. But at the same time, he was confident of his victory on account of the presence of Bhishma, who was a far superior general. His conclusion that he would come out of the battle victorious was well ascertained. So, Hare Krishna. So, the chapter 1 is entitled Observing the Armies. Prabhupada titles it as Observing the Armies. So, Arjun basically observed observed the army of the other side and his own army, and Duryodhan was also observing the both armies. So this is how, like, this is what a general, a warrior would do: assess, both sides and take the necessary action. We all know that Bhagavad Gita was spoken by Lord Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, when Arjuna was in dilemma, whether to fight or not to fight. Um, so here, Duryodhan is observing his own army and the army of the Pandavas. So when he looked at his own army, then he could see great warrior Bhishma. Uh, Bhishma is the grandfather of both Kauravas and Pandavas. So he is taking side of Kauravas or Duryodhan party. So he thinks, because Bhishma was such a great warrior, um, and so the whole Kaurava army was protected by him, he thinks that he's going to be victorious. He's comparing, Bhishma with Bhima. On the other side there is Bhima. Pandava's army is protected by Bhima. So he thinks Bhima is nothing when compared with Bhishma. So, and he he has come to a conclusion that he is going to be victorious. He is going to be victorious. This is what is he missing here? He's missing something. He's not looking Krishna's presence here. He's excluded Krishna. He just looked at the strength, the material strength of the both sides, and came to conclusion that he is going to be victorious. So he has not seen the hand of Krishna. Krishna has taken the side of Pandavas. So we all know that before the war of Kurukshetra, the battle of Kurukshetra, both Duryodhan and Arjun went to Krishna to seek his support in the war. So both went, and when they went, Krishna was actually sleeping on a bed. So first Duryodhan went to the palace and he looked at Krishna. Krishna was taking rest, and he sat near the head of Krishna. There was a chair, so he was sitting. Duryodhan was sitting near the head, and whereas Arjun came a little later, and there was another chair, which is just next to these, feet. So Arjun sat in that chair. So when Krishna woke up, so obviously, he saw Arjun, because who was sitting at the feet. So he looked at Arjun, and then he looked at Duryodhan. Then he asked, "How are you?" and general inquiry and welcoming with sweet words. Then asked why what is the purpose of their visit, and they both said they wanted, his army, support of him and his army. Then Krishna says that, let me divide my army one side, I myself one side. So his army is quite big. So Krishna said that is called Narayani Sena. So army one side, Narayani Sena, myself one side. But first Arjuna has to choose. Uh, so Duryodhan was thinking that Arjun might go for the army of Krishna, and Krishna also said not only divided the army like army one side and himself one side, but he also mentioned that he's not going to hold any weapon, he's not going to fight at all, and he would just give some suggestions, some advice here and there. So he asked Arjun to choose first. Duryodhan was a little bit upset that Arjun might go for the army rather than Krishna. Mhm. So we all know that Arjun is a devotee, bhakta. So he chose Krishna as opposed to the army. So Duryodhan was overwhelmed with joy that he got the army of Krishna. Mm. So whereas Arjun said, just you are enough, Krishna. Mm. I don't need anything else. When you are there, everything else is with you. Mm. So that was the mood of a devotee. Um, we all know that who came victorious in the battle of Kurukshetra. It's not the amount of material strength that we have. The strength that one needs is spiritual strength. That is very important. We also all know that the um, you know materially speaking, the size of Kaurava's army is much larger than the size of Pandava's army. But so Pandavas became victorious, and that is because of Krishna's presence. Arjun also says it is in the Bhagavatam. So Arjun says, "My Lord Krishna, I'm like a little fish in an ocean, big ocean, and in this big ocean, and there are big whales. Who are these whales? They can swallow little fish like anything. And who are these big whales? Drona and Bhishma, and also Karna to some extent, but mainly Drona and Bhishma. Drona is the is teacher. That's where both Pandavas and Kauravas learned the military art. Mm. So both this Drona and Bhishma, they have taken side of Kauravas. So Arjun says, "I'm like a little fish. You know, they could have easily swallowed me, but because of your presence, they couldn't do anything. I was able to kill them. I was able to kill them. It is because of your presence, Krishna." Mm. So we also know that in the Bhagavad Gita 11th chapter, entitled Universal Form, where Krishna shows his universal form to Arjun, and he shows, in that form, Arjun could see that all these great warriors, they were rushing into the mouth of Supreme Lord. Uh, and Krishna says to Arjun, I've actually done the job for you. You just act as a mere instrument. Uh, so nimitta matram bhavasavya sachi. I have done everything for you. You just have to um, just act as an instrument. Mm. And from the story of Prahlad, we know that how he is only mere little boy. His father had immeasurable strength, um, and he tried to kill him, kill this little Prahlad in many ways, many ways. But Prahlad took shelter of Krishna, um, and that's how he was protected. So the strength of Hiranyakashipu was negligible in the presence of Prahlad's strength, which he got it from, um, which he got by taking shelter of Krishna. Mm. So that is the way devotee is. Um, he takes the main, main aspect of devotees in any condition. Devotee sees Krishna's hand. The one who doesn't see Krishna's hand is like a Duryodhana. When he is comparing, there is no mention of Krishna. So when a materialistic person thinks that materialistic person means he eliminates Krishna. He doesn't see Krishna's hand. So Duryodhana represents that materialistic person. A devotee, Arjun represents devotee who sees Krishna, who depends on Krishna, who takes shelter of Krishna. So that is Arjun in any condition. So to become victorious means it's not the material success. It is the principle of taking shelter of Lord Krishna. It is the principle of seeing Lord Krishna's hand in every aspect. So that's how one becomes victorious. Let's see the verse, the famous verse of Bhagavad Gita, 18th chapter, last verse of Bhagavad Gita. Last verse of Bhagavad Gita. So that is 18th chapter and 77. It's the 77 there. Yes, 78 then. So I will recite. If you have a copy of Gita, you can do that as well. Okay, so that's where you are, and find 1878. So it will give some more information. Yatra Yogeshwaraha Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha Tatra Shrir Vijayo Bhutir Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. So this verse is spoken by Sanjaya. So we all know, just a little bit of background to Gita again. So both Kauravas and Pandavas are about to begin their war on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the father of Kauravas, who is known as Dhritarashtra, who was blind, was sitting in Hastinapur, capital city, Delhi, and the Kurukshetra, the battlefield is couple of maybe 100 miles away from New Delhi. So he had an assistant. The Dhritarashtra had an assistant called Sanjaya. So before the war has begun, the father of Dhritarashtra, Vyasdev. Vyasdev, we know that Vyasdev had compiled all the Vedas. He had put everything in writing. So Vyasdev's son is Dhritarashtra. So who was blind, we know that. So he said to Dhritarashtra, I can give you the vision now. You can, see the war. But Dhritarashtra says, no, I don't want to see the death of my own sons with my hands. I've been blind so far. I do not want the vision. With that, I will be only seeing the death of my sons. And that time, what Vyasdev did, that he gave special mercy to Dhritarashtra's secretary, who is known as Sanjay, that he has given a divine vision, mercy. So Sanjay was basically explaining everything that was going on in the battlefield to his master Dhritarashtra. He was sitting in New Delhi and was explaining everything to him. It's like a live telecast. Mm. Um, so at the end, this is what his conclusion. After the end of Gita, Sanjay's conclusion is this verse. What does he say? Where there is Krishna, the master of all mystics, and wherever there is Arjun, the supreme archer, there will also certainly be opulence, victory, extraordinary power, and morality. This is my opinion. Hmm. See, so this is how he concludes that wherever Krishna and Arjun is there, there will be so many things. There will be opulence, there will be victory, there will be power, there will be morality. And so all these things will be there. And as we know, um, as we knew, and Sanjay's conclusion was right. He mentioned there will be victory. And we knew, like now we know that Arjun's party, that's Pandava's party, become victorious. So the principle is uh, keeping Krishna in the center. That's where we get our opulence, our victory, our extraordinary power. Mm. So um, there is a nice purport to this verse and the 18th chapter, but we don't have time. If you can go and read, it's like a summary of entire Gita because it's the last verse of Gita. So Prabhupada had given a detailed purport to this verse. This is a very, very beautiful verse. Mm. So I'm on a different page. Let me come back to the live stream again. Yes, so devotees are still there. So it's good to see all the devotees are still there. So let's, Now we'll move on to slightly, we'll take something else from Bhagavatam. Mm. So in the Bhagavatam, there is a story of churning the milk ocean. So once upon a time, the demons and the demigods, on the advice of Lord Krishna, they decided to churn this milk ocean. So to churn this milk ocean, they used a mountain known as Mandara as a churning rod, and they needed a rope to churn. They will, put it around and then churn. So they used a big snake called Vasuki as a rope. So this was in the Milk Ocean. So they got the Mandara mountain, but Mandara mountain was getting sunk. So Lord Krishna took the form of turtle, and he went underneath, and that's where he lifted that mountain. So he bore the weight of that mountain, and then they used Vasuki rope and started churning. So when churning, there is head and there is tail. Somebody has to hold the head, somebody has to hold the tail. So demons, they thought, tail is something, not so great. It's like, what do you say?
Lower end.
Lower end. It's something like, you feel, yes, lower service, something abominable, something simple, tail. We don't want to hold the tail. So they took the head side. They held the head. And demigods, they said, whatever is no problem as long as we have Krishna. Whether it is head or tail, whether it is small service or big service, not a problem. We want Krishna. So our consciousness, our focus should be on the lotus feet of Krishna, whatever service we do. Hmm. Demon said, no, 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 we're not going to hold the tail. This is cheap. So they held the head, and the demigods held the tail, and they churned. We know that. And then first, the big poison came out of it, and Lord Shiva rescued. He drank it, and at the end, nectar. In Sanskrit, we call it amrut. It came out. So this is a divine medicine. So when one drinks this nectar, which is called amrut, then they don't have, any kind of disease or any old age, and they will live. They will live. How long they will live? They will live up to whatever the prescribed length of time. Say for humans, the prescribed length of time is 100 years, but we can't tell. There is a coronavirus coming. There are so many diseases are there, so many crashes, so many accidents. So we don't know how long we will live. However, our prescribed length of time is 100 years. So whatever the length of prescribed time they have, they will live up to that without any disease, any old age, anything like that. Uh, so so they wanted to drink. So that's why they worked hard to get it out. Um, so when the nectar pot came, so the demon somehow or other snatched it and started running, running, running. Uh, and everybody was trying to run and catch this pot of nectar so that they can drink. But we all know that at that time, Lord Vishnu took the form of Mohini Murti, a beautiful young girl. Uh, and so as soon as they saw this beautiful girl, Mohini Murti, uh, so the demons completely got bewildered. So attractive, so captivating. So they completely stopped running and they started staring at this beautiful young girl. And then they said that, oh, beautiful young girl, you are our master. You distribute this nectar. We will just obey your order. Mm. People, surrender to the beauty. Of course, when Krishna takes a form of a beautiful woman, just imagine, with that form, he managed to bewildered Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is called Dhira. Mm. He was not, he will not bewildered by small things at all. But so Krishna, that Mohini Murti form, bewildered Lord Shiva. Even Lord Shiva got attracted and started chasing Mohini Murti. That's a different story. So what to speak of these little demons? So they got completely bewildered and said, "You distribute. We will listen to you." So and then they gave in charge Mohini Murti. We all know that she tricked the demons and gave nectar, amrut, to the devotees. Mm. And if we analyze this story, both, so first point is that the demons were holding the head side, and the demigods were holding on the tail side. If we just translate that to our, whether it is service, small service or big service, it doesn't matter. Sometimes someone cleans the temple. Sometimes someone cleans the toilet. Someone cleans the utensils. Someone cleans the garden. Someone does the gardening. Someone paints it. Someone washes the utensils. Someone, we. We have devotees like our dear Govinda Brajkumar, Govinda Prabhu. So he just, he has a team of devotees. He washes the plates after every devotee has eaten. You know, externally it appears a menial service. Someone may give a class. huh? So, but the main thing is that consciousness. That's very important. It's not the type of service. We all have different abilities and different propensities. According to our ability and propensity, we may choose a service. But in Krishna consciousness, if it is done properly, whatever service it may be, one will get full benefit, even if it is a menial service. Hmm. However great the service may be, if it is not done with Krishna consciousness, one will not get the benefit. So that's the first lesson. So demigods were holding the tail and demons were holding the head. But however, the demigods got the nectar because they had consciousness. They were always taking shelter of Krishna. Hmm. So that's the first point. Second point, um, so both demons and demigods, they worked for the same purpose. So if you analyze, they began at the same time. The purpose was same, and the place was same. It's for the effort was same, and the purpose was also same. Everything was same, mm, but they did not get the nectar. Demons did not get the nectar, whereas devotees got the nectar. Even though they both have put effort equally. Hmm? What is the main reason? Again, same thing. huh? Because the demigods are the devotees of Lord Krishna. That's why they got the nectar, they got the benefit. Hmm. Prabhupada actually, he writes in the purport of these verses in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam that a devotee and a materialistic person, they work in the office. Hmm. Externally they look same, they wear like normal karmi dress, and our devotees also wear karmi dress. Everything was like they have a, they work, we work, um, and externally it looks same. These, a devotees working and a materialistic working in a factory, in an office, externally appears same. But the devotee, um, by chanting this Hare Krishna mantra, by following the four regulative principles, he get the different benefit. Although they both work in the same factory, externally they both appear to do the same thing, but the end result is different for the devotee. The end result is much better. And the devotee, because of having taken shelter of spiritual master and having obeyed the order of spiritual master, the devotee will go back to Godhead, whereas materialistic person has to take birth again. Punarapi jananam, punarapi mananam, punarapi janani jatare shayanam. A materialistic person has to take birth repeatedly and come back. Hmm. So it's the consciousness that matters. Hmm. So just to sum up, we have discussed the verse from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 1. It's verse 10 from chapter 1, where Duryodhan was observing the army of his own and army of Pandavas, and then he came to this conclusion. Bhishma, who was a terrific warrior, great fighter, he thought that Bhishma is on our side, and we are going to be victorious. The only little comparable person to Bhishma is Bhima, but Bhima is very limited. Bhima's power is very limited. Hmm? Because we are protected by great grandfather Bhishma, we will become victorious. That's what his conclusion. He did not see Krishna's hand at all. Hmm. So then we also mentioned, we gave the other example of how um, Prahlad, who was a mere little boy, um, you know, and he became, he was unconquerable because having, taken shelter of Krishna. His father tried to kill him in many ways. So he took shelter of Krishna. So he became unconquerable. Mm. So, and then Arjun himself says in the Bhagavatam that, "O Lord Krishna, that I'm like that little fish in the ocean, and there are great, whales who are like Drona and Bhishma. They could have easily swallowed me in the battle of Kurukshetra. I'm nothing in front of Bhishma and Drona, but because I've taken shelter of you, I was able to kill them." And we also looked at the verse from Bhagavad Gita where Sanjaya, he concludes Gita by saying, wherever there is Krishna, wherever there is Arjun, there will be morality, there will be extraordinary power, there is beauty, there is opulence, there is victory. And this was Sanjaya's conclusion. And we can see that our Prabhupada, at the age of 69, you know, people would like to retire and do something completely different. At the age of 69, he left Vrindavan, and some people said, Prabhupada, you carried Bhagavatam to the Western world. But Prabhupada said, actually, Bhagavatam went to the Western world. I followed the Bhagavatam. Hmm. So he took shelter of Krishna, and see whole ISKCON movement, came out with that. At the age of 69, people don't want to do anything. So Prabhupada took shelter of Krishna, and see the power of taking shelter of Krishna, how big we are now, worldwide. And then we, looked at the story of this churning of milk ocean, where Kauravas, demons and demigods, they wanted to, they were aiming for nectar, and they both put equal effort, uh, and yet one got the result, other didn't get the result. And that's because, having taken shelter of Krishna, the demigods have got the nectar. And so that's a real victory. The real victory is taking shelter of Krishna. And sometimes materially it may not be appealing. I'll give one example. Look at the situation of Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj, he was cursed to die with a snake bite in 7 days. And how he used those 7 days, we all know. He sat and he heard Srimad Bhagavatam from the lotus mouth of Srila Sukadeva Goswami for 7 days. But after 7 days, did he ask Krishna to protect his material body? He did not ask. He didn't ask at all. And we know that Takshak, the snake bird, came and bitten him, and his body burned to ashes. But that was still success, because he was taken. He had taken shelter of Krishna, and because having taken shelter of Krishna, he went back to Godhead. That's victory. So taking shelter, not the material result. Externally, this body cannot be protected. Krishna says in the Gita, "Nanyate anyamane sharire." So the body can never be saved, and soul can never be killed. Actually, he says in the other words that body is always dead and soul is always living. because current body is moving because the presence of soul now. So Krishna defines that actually the material body is dead anyway, because the presence of soul, it is moving and it's working. So, so for Parikshit Maharaj, yes, he became victorious because he had taken shelter of Krishna. He went back to Godhead. And only a couple of days ago, our devotee from Manor, temple president, previous temple president, Shruti Dharma Prabhu, His Grace Shruti Dharma Prabhu, had left this world. He had given his life to Krishna, and he dedicated his life to serve, Krishna and his devotees. Serving devotees is also important. It's same. Actually, there is one verse which just came to my mind. There is a discussion between Lord Shiva and Mother Parvati. And Lord Shiva says to Parvati that Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnur Aradhanam Param. Among all the worships, the best worship is worship of Krishna. That's what is his conclusion. He says, among all the worship, the best worship is to worship of Krishna, whereas there is something even greater than the worship of Krishna. That is, he says, Tasmat Parataram Devi Tadiyanam Samarcharam. However, there is something greater than the worship of Lord Vishnu is to worship his devotees. Worshipping or serving his devotees is even greater than serving Krishna. That's what Lord Shiva says. So, for a devotee, serving other devotees, serving Krishna is the main thing. So Shruti Dharma Prabhu, selflessly, he had served the congregation at Manor. Is very well known. So he had left this world. So he is also victorious. He is victorious. The material body, as I said, just like Parikshit, it cannot be saved. But by taking shelter of Krishna, then we can do something better. So that's what he did. And so let's take this mood. Let's imbibe this mood, and let's read these scriptures. These scriptures, they remind. We hear Prabhupada by reading these scriptures. So now there is, fear of coronavirus. So many things are there, but please read these scriptures on a daily basis. And we have these classes on a regular basis. But I'm so glad that there are 21 people viewing, and so that's very good. So it's good that good to have this association like this. So I'll stop there, and I would like to thank all the devotees who had taken time to attend this discussion. And also, if any devotee wants to say anything, they can type. I know that some devotees are typing. So if anybody has any comments or questions, anything they want to say, they can type. And I will just wait some time here. So thank you. Hare Krishna. I'll just wait and see a few minutes. So Babu Desai, Hare Krishna, Dandavas Pranam. One question: how did Hiranyakashipu get the heart to kill his own son? Second question: even that Parikshit Maharaj took shelter not to protect materially. So let's see. So the first question, Babu Desai Prabhu. So the first question you asked is, how did Hiranyakashipu get the heart to kill his own son? What can we do? Demons. Demons, in history there are so many, because the simple reason he wanted to kill his own son is he was worshipping Vishnu, and Hiranyakashipu thought, Vishnu to be his enemy, and Hiranyakashipu thought, Vishnu is enemy, but Prahlad was worshipping Lord Vishnu. That's why he wanted to kill. This is the demonic nature. We know that Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb has put his own father, Shah Jahan, in the prison. There are other stories also for selfish reasons. So that's the. Yes, when we when we have these selfish desires, we get bewildered. Bhavati sammoha. So we get bewildered. We don't know. The common things common sense become uncommon. Say it's very common sense, but it becomes uncommon when we are covered with Maya. So that's the answer to first question. Second question, even that Parikshit Maharaj took shelter not protected materially. Yes. Yeah, so that's right. Devotees, they never ask for their own material protection. They, Lord Krishna always protect them spiritually. So the next, Katie, thank you for a wonderful class, Prabhu. Purushottam, Hare Krishna. Madhav Kumar Prabhu, more devotees closer to Prasadam time as always. But there is no Prasadam here. No Prasadam here. Prabhuji, how is Sanjay is unfearful to say truth to his master? Yeah. That's a good question, because he's a devotee. He's speaking truth. Devotees, they always speak truth. They are not afraid. Srila Prabhupada, he calls scientists sometimes rascal, great philosophers rascal. So many people, he says so many things because it's a truth. It's a, truth. Truth is spoken, and devotees are very, very good at that, speaking truth. They are not afraid. And then Akila Raj, how many children did Vedavyas had their names Hare Krishna? Mataji, that is a slightly bigger story. But just to simplify, Dhritarashtra, then Pandu, and also Vidura. So they were the sons of Vedavyas. There is a story in the Mahabharata. So all these three, Dhritarashtra, Pandu, King Pandu, and then Vidura. So three were the sons of Vedavyas. Okay, so thank you very much, and it's 8:30. And on Sunday, there will be another broadcast. And I hope you are able to hear clearly. Can you just say if we are able to hear clearly? And then we will continue to do this until we, open the temple. Okay, so Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, GauraNataraja Bhagavad Gita ki Jai, Thai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bo, Hare Krishna.